Okay, this is the CoffeeTec profiler. It basically composes a program and a data file which contains all of the setup parameters, default parameters, to start it. So here we have the profiler. It's composed of one section here, which is the graph, which is going to show you your profile settings and also the temperature of your roasting process. This is going to be temperature versus time. I've also got a graph up here, which is showing you just the temperature versus time over the last 30 or so minutes. This actually records the entire day, whereas this just records an independent roast session. So the way this works is you come in and you have a recipe in mind. Maybe it's something that you did a few days ago that you really liked, and you load the recipe. And what this shows you over here is it allows you to set the burner rate in percentage, and then it lets you set how long you want it at that time, how long you want it to run at that percentage. You can see this red line down here is plotting the table. Now, the first thing you want to do is you want to heat the roaster up. We have it set to be ready at 180 degrees. So now the burner's on at 60%. It's heating up. The roasting has not started yet. Okay, so the roaster's now heated up. You can see that the ready indicator is flashing. And it's time to load your beans, dump them into the roaster, and start roasting. Now this graph becomes active. This red line shows you what the burner is doing. You can see the lines. There's a cursor that shows you where you are in the roast timing. It also tells you what temperature your beans and your air temperature are. It's up to 3 thermocouples. You can also see the temperatures here. Here you see how much time we have remaining in the roasting, the amount of expecting time. Now we have our bean temperature set at 220 degrees, and once we achieve 220 degrees, you can see the bean temperature indicator starts flashing, and that's your key to start cooling. Once you start cooling, you can see automatically we put a label on the graph and the data file, and we can also add an additional field that says dumped beans. Whenever in the roast you want to note something, you can always use the mark it feature. Okay, now that the roast is completed, we're going to want to save that file, and maybe we'll make a note that it was, in this particular case, it was let's say it was a little bit too dark. And now it's saved permanently. Now we can always go back in and load that file up, and we can see it. See right there is the history. This is what we're going to do on the next roast. That's what we did historically. Now we can also clear that window. Another feature here is that you can choose to manage your files to keep track of all the different roasts that you've had. You can see here we've got selections where you can select the proper directory, and you can also preface the file with a name, perhaps maybe the batch of beans that you're roasting. We can append a timestamp. That's really useful so you can remember what day and compare it to the notes that you're taking. Also in this screen is where you set up the basic parameters of the roast. These are how hot the roaster has to get before you're ready to roast. It's like preheating your oven. This is a temperature at which time, this is an error condition where you want to shut the roasting off because it got too hot. Here you've got your burner speed that you want to run it at when you're idling and getting ready to roast. Up here you can see what the burner speed, you can always see up here what the burner speed is at if you're interested. Kind of a nice thing that you can do is you can load an old data file. That's the one we just did. And then you can go ahead and run the exact same profile over again with the same beans, the same amount of beans, and you can watch as the roast follows the old roast and make any adjustments as you need. This is a feature where you can actually add time. You can see the time here is expanding as you add this adds 20 seconds, or you can also subtract 20 seconds from the roast. This is the main way that you can delay the roast a little bit if it's not fully developed, or perhaps move it up if the roast is going faster than you expected. Here's what happens when, okay, start cooling. When you're done, you start cooling. And again, now that we're done, see, it's real easy to say, well, I like that one, that was just right. this will be appended to the data file so you can remember. A lot of times you want to talk about particular issues with the roast or some of the results of the roast. You might also choose to weigh the coffee and put some information in the data file about that. And to exit the program, it's all ready to roast, but if you're done for the day, you just go, and the next day you come in, and you're ready to go. Load your old file. That's what you want to do. Start the heat up process. And so on.